Welcome to Conversations with Klana, made for the modern woman who wants to raise her self-esteem, increase her satisfaction, and build happy and loving relationships with herself and others. More and more, women feel they have lost their spark and the connection to themselves and miss deep intimacy in their lives. Rather than accept a life that doesn't shine, they want to change to one that does. Join the conversation each week when Klana and her guests explore practical ways and positive solutions to living a new, authentic life based on self-love, connection, harmony, and joy. Now, here is your host, transformation catalyst, author, and speaker, Klana.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Conversations with Klana. Today I have a lady, Miriam Grunhaus, and welcome to you, my dear.
Thank you.
I will briefly tell the viewers and listeners who you are, and then come back to you. So after working for 25 years as a marketer with expertise in ethics and compliance, Miriam Grunhaus, a native of Brazil, entered the world of fashion design. Miriam's commitment is to the women she serves. After learning about Kintsugi, which is the Japanese art of mending pottery, and I think we will come back to this in our conversation, and feeling empowered by its message, Miriam decided that her brand Mikah will be the source of hope and support for women. So, Miriam, let us know a little bit about you and how you come to Kintsugi and how it worked out that you mixed that with your brand and all the other things that you are doing now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Clara, for having me in your show. And I will tell you a little bit about how I got to Kintsugi as you asked. I was a marketer for 25 years, and when I hit my own personal adversity, it was a time in my business that it slowed down the work, the amount of work. I mean, it was usually very busy, but that time was slow. And I needed to be busy because I needed to numb my pain that I was feeling at the time. And many people seek out all kinds of things to numb their pain. For me, as an entrepreneur and somebody who loves to work and create, I found my way to numb my pain was to start a new business with something that I didn't know anything about. So I would be so busy that I wouldn't have time to feel my pain. So I decided to start a fashion brand. I'm not really a fashionista, but I am very much creative. So I started working, and I was working about 1.5 years in my clothing business, and we were selling, but I wasn't really connected with what I was doing. And I was feeling a void because the work that I did beforehand, working with ethics, gave me a lot of fulfillment. I was not getting that from the fashion business. One day I'm sitting in my bed. It was a Sunday. I was very sad, saying I have to work more so I can numb more my pain. I wasn't succeeding in what I wanted to do. And I received a WhatsApp message. And this message was a Thai young man. His name is Sean. And he explained about the art of Kintsugi. And he was talking about how in Japan, when pottery breaks, they don't throw out the pieces of the pottery, but they have a process to fix the pottery with lacquer and gold. And he was describing a little bit about the process, but he was relating that to us as human beings, that we also break, but we can put our pieces back together, and that we can put gold, add gold, not try to hide what broke us, but really accentuate it, because that's going to make us more valuable, more wise, more strong than before. When I saw that video, for me, it was an aha moment, because I am a visual learner, and I was able to really see that I was broken, but that I had the potential to put my pieces back together. And I always described myself anyway as a vase because I saw myself as the container for my family to give sustenance, and that my children and my husband, they were my flowers, and I kept them together in my vase. And I did feel that my vase had been shattered and broken, and I had nothing to give. So when I was seeing this video, I was seeing my vase in my mind.
What a pretty picture.
So at that moment, I said, oh my God, my fashion was really the entry door for me to communicate more with women and inspire them to come in this journey with me of healing and mending. So I changed my brand completely. Within 4 months, I had a whole new collection, and everything had to do with Kintsugi. So all my clothing, I designed the foil with the stripes, with the lines, and I changed my brand. So the mission of the company, we wouldn't just be a fashion brand, but we would be a brand that would inspire and empower women to go into the journey of healing. My next step was to try to learn from those who had done it. You know, I'm not the type to just sit in therapy and talk about my problems, even though I did, and I sought out help in the darkest moments of my life. But I am a person that likes to put into practice. I like to learn from those who did, and then start testing what they did in my life to see if it got better. So I started interviewing women who considered themselves joyful, even though they had gone through tremendous adversity. And the process would be between 1 and 3 hour conversations with them, which I would record it. Then I would write a blog about their story. Then I would write the lessons that I learned from them. And then I would start implementing what I learned from them in my life.
Wow.
And I did that for 2 years. And as I was analyzing the data, because I was really seeing this project, this self-imposed project, as a research, you know, and I was analyzing the data and saying, okay, I see something incredible here. What I saw was that it didn't matter the age, the background of the woman, the religion, most importantly, it didn't matter the adversity. The process that they all took to become joyful again was the same process. Now, they may have done in different orders, they have done maybe slightly different things, but ultimately, the things that they did, the actions were the same. So I put all of that in writing, and I was practicing that, and I said, you know what? I'm feeling better. I feel like myself again. And it doesn't mean when you feel better and you're joyful that you don't have sad days. It doesn't mean that you don't have down days, that you're disappointed and that you don't cry. That doesn't mean it, but you just start feeling like yourself again, and productive, and with the zest of life, with the desire to live life to the fullest, even though the problem may still be there.
May I just go into this? Because at the beginning, you said you wanted to numb yourself out with your business. Did you at that time consciously know that you are numbing yourself out with the work, or is that only in retrospective?
In retrospective.
Okay.
I was saying, well, I need to continue my life, right, with this pain. So I'm going to start something. I'm going to be busy. You know, it's going to give me a reason to wake up in the morning. But the amount of hours that I was devoting to the work, it was really, it was my drug. It was my drug. I saw later, because also talking to the women, I could see them telling me that their first reaction was some way of numbing. So each one held that dealt with differently. Some did drugs, and some did excessive exercise. Some had sex obsessions. All kind, you know, they all found a way to channel that pain.
Yeah.
And, you know, and to occupy themselves so they wouldn't be thinking and feeling about what was transpiring in their lives.
And that's exactly the point. That's somehow what we learn, to distract ourselves from ourselves, to not feel. And now after you've listened to those other ladies, you started to feel again. Is that true?
Yes,
And
yes.
to accept your feelings, no matter what they were.
Exactly. And accepting that, you know, sadness is just as an important and valid feeling as happiness. And you have to give yourself that time to feel it. And that is something that I connected everything that the women were telling me with the art of Kintsugi, because I became Kintsugi obsessed. You can see even my wallpaper is Kintsugi. I did a lot of research about Kintsugi. I'm going to show you a sample, you know, of this. And the reason I became obsessed is because I wanted to learn very well about the process of the art and really connect that with us humans when we're healing ourselves. And one very important part of the process of Kintsugi is that respecting the brokenness, is collecting the pieces, is trying to figure out where which piece, how are you going to put that piece back together? Because when this is all splattered over the floor, you have to collect the pieces and like a puzzle, put them back together. So a big part of Kintsugi is dealing with the brokenness.
Yes, and then you create something completely new.
Correct.
That's the beauty in it, isn't it?
Yes, it's new and it's more valuable and it's stronger. Like in Kintsugi, if you fix a piece of ceramics the proper way, if it falls again, it's gonna break in new places, but it won't break in the place where you mended before. And that was such a lesson, because the wisdom that you gain from overcoming your adversity, those are tools you have. In that area, you're strong. You may break again because other things are going to happen in our lives, because life is about breaking and mending, right? We learn through pain, and then we overcome it. We become stronger and better than we were before. But that's what the journey is all about. So it is a continuous process of mending our broken heart and our brokenness. So I wrote a book, and the book was the 10 top golden nuggets from what I had learned from the women that I had put in place in my life, because I wanted to share with them everything that I had learned. You know, I became as obsessed as I was with Kintsugi. I became obsessed with helping women, because when you give purpose to your pain, you accept the fact that you had to go through that adversity. When you see that you were shortening the length of suffering from somebody else, ultimately, kindness and helping others is the biggest catalyst to feeling joyful for most of the time. So my entire business, I became surrounded by, I'm going to help people, I'm going to inspire people, I'm going to give of myself to people. Starting my group, I still have my blog that I write the stories. Then I started a group in which I do live videos and I share with people's stories. And we talk about it, and I have a safe place for the women to talk about their feelings with no judgment. And I'm creating a course. And what all of that means is that I understood the reason why my vase had to be broken and why I had to put the pieces back together. And it gave purpose to my life, to help others through and navigate their adversities, and knowing that it doesn't matter what the adversity is, because from my research, you know, each one is tested in the exact way that they need to be tested. Many times is in the way that they felt it defined them. You know, I interviewed a woman who was a model, and she loved high heels, and she had a collection of shoes that was enormous. And it's such a simple story that I'm going to tell you, but it only shows like an example of how she was tested in what she felt defined her. So the first time she had a fire in her house, she lost her home and she lost all her shoes. So the family picked up and they moved down to Florida, and she rebuilt her stiletto collections. We're talking 100 plus pair of stilettos. She was a model. She was in the fashion world. Beauty was something that was very important for her. In 2 months after they moved to Florida, she started feeling sick, and from one day to the next, she became completely paralyzed with Guillain-Barré disease. And when she recovered, once they managed to assess what she had, she developed a drop foot. I mean, from the paralysis, she never recovered, and she can now only wear sneakers, and she has a brace to hold her foot. And when I was interviewing her and all the other women, I said, if we look very deeply, if we assess and analyze very deeply to what happened to you, there is a connection with how we see ourselves, and what we, in the area that we were tested, is something that we felt defined us. And what the adversity creates when we start thriving is that we end up seeing that we are so much more than that. You know, if I felt that I was a vase, that I was a mother, that I was a wife, and I saw myself, you know, here in my home, I had one little job that I had to do. Now I see myself that I can be a powerhouse, that I can have a bigger vase, that I can have so many more flowers in my vase, that it's not just for my family, but it's for all the women that I will come in contact in my life. So, and she became a woman who started businesses, and she started teaching other people in the fashion industry, in the hair industry, what to do. And she wouldn't do that if she still was walking down, you know, the fashion in fashion weeks, because she became so much more. And I see that again and again. We all have the potential for so much more. And sometimes we're broken in the pieces, in the areas where we think are the most important parts of our life, but we just don't realize that we're so much bigger and we have so much more potential. And I hope that the message with my book, with my course, with my fashion, with my words, with anybody who listens to me, is that each person can mend. We don't have to be embarrassed of our flaws. We don't have to be embarrassed of what broke us, that we need to put gold, and we need to show the world that we did the work and we put ourselves back together, and then be a light in the lives of others who need our help and assistance with our wisdom.
Wow, this is amazing, your story, and also woven in the other stories of other people. But I have another question to you. You said now you found your purpose to help other people, which you did before as well, just maybe in your family and not so many out of the family. But I know, or at least this is my belief, that you can only give to other people when you are full, when your cup is full. So what did you do to really be full yourself before you give to other people? Because if you wouldn't, then you would just find another coping mechanism to deal with your pain. Wouldn't it be like that?
I agree with what you said 100%. So for me, it started by putting my pieces back together, because I felt broken. And I remember telling my husband, I feel like there is nothing in me to give to anybody. I just, nothing. I was like dead, you know, dead inside. So first of all, it was the process of healing. It was the process of starting to implement what I was learning from all the thrivers. And I felt that I'm starting to become whole again. And then is continuously saving something for me. So I have a morning ritual, and I spend every morning about an hour with myself. And I do certain things that feed me. I started reading a lot more. I am very intentional with what I read. I am very intentional with what I watch on TV. I stopped all the things that made me scared or sad. And I really try to motivate and surround myself with people that inspire me. So I feed myself first. I start my day filling my vase with water. And then I'm able to give it to others. So I'm very intentional about that. I wake up about an hour before my family so I can really devote that time. And sometimes I say, I want to write today, you know, I just want to write. Some days it's a combination of prayer, of stretching my body, you know, of learning a new language. I try to consistently learn a little bit. I'm learning Italian, so I do Duolingo, but this is my time. It's my disturbed time. And a lot of people, it's funny, I have this process where I set up my goals, and I'm very goal oriented, and I'm very structured about and intentional about my goals. And I was doing this journal and a planner that helps you, categorize the goals and break them down. And at the end, it said, write the reward you're going to give yourself when you accomplish the goal. And I had a trouble with that, because at the end of the day, I said to myself, my reward is accomplishing the goal. Some people need a spa, a new top, makeup, whatever it is that thrills them, and it's all good. The way that I operate, my reward is the accomplishing what I set myself to do. So I am very intentional about that, having goals, accomplishing them, because when I do, I feel proud of myself, but I'm also not shy to say, Miriam, you're great. You did it. You were amazing. I think that we are always trying to minimize ourselves and make other people like gods. We idolize people that do certain things. They put a post and the post sounds great. And you're like, oh my God, they're so talented. You know what? I'm talented, I'm great, I'm insightful. I'm also need help. And I also have my weaknesses, but I'm not ashamed to give value to the things that I do accomplish. And when I do that, when I say those things to myself, Miriam, you're great, you accomplished that. That is feeding myself so I can give to others. So for example, my book was my 2020 biggest goal, because I have small goals, medium goals, big goals, family goals, business goals. But my biggest goal that I set out on January 1st, 2020 was to write a book. And there were so many distractions along the way, COVID and this. And I said, absolutely no, there's no excuses. This is my goal. I'm going to write every day. I'm going to find an editor. I'm going to make it happen. I don't have the money. I'm going to find the money. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to barter if I need to. But my book is coming out 2020. And, my book is out. It was out on 2020. We were 6 weeks in the top. Yes, but that feeds me, when I see my book printed and my words are here and people texting me, wow, this book changed my life, or now I have the tools, that feeds me. And then I'm able to give more. And I continuously do that.
And this shows me that you have done a lot of inner work. It's similar to me, because I see myself in some of those things that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. I'm enough for myself. I don't know how you can say that in proper English.
No, you did.
So that you don't need to, that you are not dependent on what other people say, or that other people acknowledge you and that other people applaud you. That's nice. Okay. But I think the most important thing is that you can applaud yourself and make yourself big and put yourself on the throne sometimes, and that has nothing to do with being egoistic. Nothing. There's a fine line between selfishness and and doing good things for yourself.
Yes, I say like that. I tell that to my daughters all the time. I have 4 daughters. And I tell my daughters, we are children from our Creator. He doesn't, I have a friend that says that. He doesn't sponsor any flops, right? So you may go make him proud, go do great things and recognize I did a great thing. And then you become of service to others. So you can be proud of being of service. You can be proud that you became a strong person to help others. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you stay humble, stay understanding that we're always a work in progress, that there is always something that we can become better. And as long as we're continuously doing work to become better people, we can be proud of every goal that we accomplished, of every, improvement that we have made along the way. And I have made tremendous improvement, and I'm proud of that. And I still know that there are areas that I have to improve more, but I know that I'm capable as long as I stay committed.
And this is so important, especially to the women, because we were raised in a different way. A lot of men already are better at that. Not everyone, but men usually are better in those things, to see what they are doing good. And for us women, it's different. And it is better to learn it without having a disease or some big accident or whatever, that big bang that brings you to another thinking. You can do it in other ways too.
For sure.
So I highly recommend you, who is not yet doing this, look after yourself and acknowledge yourself. Acknowledgement, I think, is such an important tool. That's what I'm teaching all the time to the people. Start with yourself. Acknowledge yourself, even for getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth. It doesn't need to be always a big thing, like your book, for instance.
Yeah, let me tell you, I start my day and I make my bed really pretty. I close my bed, and I feel very accomplished because I started my day, and the first moment I already accomplished something. And it was very funny because my husband said to me, because I wake up before my family, right? Because I need my hour. So my husband said to me, can you not make your bed in the morning, your side of the bed, because it wakes me up? And I said to him, but that's my first accomplishment of the day, I can't. And he's like, you're waking me up. Can you please not touch your pillows and not to fluff things, not to fluff your cover? And but yes, find something that you can start the day. And then after 5 minutes, you can say, I already did this. I already accomplished something. And then it goes from there, because you're starting your day in the right mood, in a positive way.
Yeah, and you find out by yourself what it is that's working for you.
Exactly.
So you have your own morning routine. I have my morning routine. And to be honest, it changes sometimes.
Right.
It's not always the same.
That's right.
And I think it's so important to have some kind of a toolbox where you can bring the things to you that are perfect in that very moment.
Exactly. We're very aligned.
Yeah. So Miriam, it was a pleasure.
Pleasure was mine.
From you and from your mending process. And I love to see that self-love aspect from a completely different angle here this time. And I have a few links that I am putting in the show notes so that people can contact you, that they see where they can get your book, and where they can go into your Facebook group, where you are still doing those talks with other people. And I listened into that. That's very interesting. So I can highly recommend you to go there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you like the Conversations with Klana, please leave a thumbs up, register, or whatever you do in these cases, so that you get noticed when we come up for the next time. Thanks again, Miriam, and bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Klana. Remember to follow us on social media and get connected. Visit our website, conversationswithklana.com, for show notes and additional episodes. And if you like this broadcast, please share it with your friends to help us empower more women to live an authentic and happy life and make this world a better place for everyone.